Jeepers Creepers 2 takes place after Jeepers Creepers 3 and ultimately takes place before the eventual Jeepers Creepers 4. Jeepers Creepers 2 is the second movie in the Jeepers Creepers franchise. If you're a fan of the series, this is the one that takes place on a school bus full of school kids. And they are all stalked by the creature of the series known as the Creeper. What's interesting to note is that the mystery behind who the Creeper is mostly solved in the first movie, and even a little bit more so in the third movie that takes place before the second movie. But what I liked about this movie is, regardless, they still kept the tone of mystery and creepitude of the creature, because everything takes place at night. You don't know what's gonna happen next, and it mostly keeps that thrill a little bit more alive. First of all, these are kids. An audience is more likely to be affected by the possibility that kids are gonna die than adults. And it's all at night, so it's even a little bit more creepy. Let's first start off with the people category, starting off with acting, which was fine. I don't think it was really that bad, except, I watched the third movie before I watched the second, and it's really easy to see the difference between the acting, as the acting in the third movie was terrible, and this one was just generic and typical. Not the greatest, so I'll still only give it 1 out of 2 possible stars. I think in some cases they tried to make the characters a little bit more interesting, a little bit more unique, but for the most part, you're not going to really remember these people at all. Not the actors, not the characters. All you're going to really remember is the fact that this is a Jeepers Creepers movie, and this is the one with the school bus with the kids. 1. With the casting, like I said, you're really not going to remember who's in the movie, not the characters or the actors or anything like that. They do fine for what it's worth, but that's about it. 1. Does everybody play an important role in the film regarding to the direction of the plot? I'll say this. Every kid on the bus, for me, pretty much blended together. Creeper's on his own, and of course there's the father who's going on a hunt to find the creeper who took his son. His story is probably the most interesting. That being said, because all the kids kind of blend together, this gets 1. As for chemistry, I don't really think I noticed anything. This isn't a chemistry heavy film, so I'll have to actually give it 1 writing score. Nothing sticks out for the dialogue, pretty much typical and generic there. 1. For the most part, this is a balanced film that focuses on one thing, and that is the kids that are stuck on the bus. 2. Nothing deep or meaningful about the story. There's some interesting things about how it goes from point A to point B that I did appreciate, but for the most part, it wasn't the greatest story. It was just kind of a cat and mouse stalking movie. That's really all it comes down to. 1. Not all that original. It kind of feels like a typical horror film about survival. In regards to that, I will only have to give that 1. Do I consider it interesting? Yes, this is a sequel to Jeepers Creepers, and I want to see how they continue the story. And unlike the third movie, it kept my interest throughout the film, so I'm going to have to give that 2. BTS. Nothing about the visuals really strikes me as great or grand. Nothing sticks out, so I'm only going to give visuals 1. I think the directing is fine, but anybody could have really done the job. 1. Same can be said about the editing. 1. It is as advertised, so I'll give that 2 out of 2. And nothing about the music specifically really stuck out for me. I won't be listening to any kind of soundtrack or score for it. 1. Narrative arc score. Introduction was pretty good. It kind of summed up what's going on with the creeper, as well as introduces you to the family, the kids on the school bus, and what they are doing there. Ultimately, introduction gets 2 out of 2. Inciting incident is ultimately when the bus is stalked out, and the creeper forces the bus to come to a halt. And the kids have nowhere to turn to, not even the adults. The obstacles is trying to figure out as a whole how the kids are going to survive. Obstacles definitely gets 2 out of 2. There definitely is a culmination of everything that added before it that feels explosive and feels bigger than anything else. I'll give that 2 out of 2. As a calming down and returning to a new norm sense for the falling action, it calms down for sure, but there is no real new norm because it kind of ends on a cliffhanger. I'll only give that 1 entertainment score. As for rewatchability, I think maybe, kind of like what I said with the third movie. If I'm gonna marathon the series, of course I'm gonna include the second movie in that marathon. As for watching this on its own, probably not so much, so I'm gonna give that 1. Do I consider this fun? Honestly, I think this is probably the funnest movie out of the bunch, just because you already know the mystery behind the creature, so it's not really a mystery, but it's just fun because now you just have the creeper stalking other victims and you want to see how they survive, much like a typical horror sequel. So I'm going to give fun 2. I don't really have an impulse to buy it, so as far as impulse to buy gets 0. I don't really have an impulse to talk about it other than this review here, so for impulse to talk, 0. Does it suck the audience in? In my personal opinion, I think it does. From beginning to end, there's not much to hate about it, and I think it does suck you in just for having fun. For that, I'll give it 2 out of 10. Specialty. Alright, so as a franchise, does it feel like it fits in? Of course it does. It definitely feels more like it fits in now that you've seen the third movie that just ties everything together. So I'll give that 10 out of 10 possible stars. As a sequel, does it add anything new? For this, I'm gonna probably say no. It just feels more of the same. It feels probably a bit more fun because you don't have to worry about a mystery or anything like that. Doesn't really add that much to the series. I'll only give that half points and say 5 out of 10. It's a horror film like any of the others. It's horror adjacent. You don't really feel scared of anything. It's just violent and fun. And for that, I'll only give it half points and say 5 out of 10. Thriller aspects, is it thrilling? I think some of it is, but you don't really feel that anymore because you don't really care about the mystery of who it is. You're just having fun while watching. So as far as thriller, I think I'll just say half and say 5. Halfway decent? Personally, I think it is. Technically speaking, the highest rated Jeepers Creepers movie I have. That being said, I didn't use this rating model on the first movie, so I can't be absolutely certain that that's accurate. But that being said, halfway decent, definitely. 10 out of 10 possible stars. If we add all that together, we get 67 out of 100 possible stars. 67%, which isn't half bad. It's actually pretty decent. Guys, tell me what you thought of Jeepers Creepers 2 in the comments down below. Follow me on Track.tv and Twitter at username IAMDWG. Head over to my website, daveexaminesmovies.com, to see my 2017 End of the Year Movie Awards, which are up right now. As for YouTube, you know you can subscribe to me, hit that like button, and hit that bell to be notified when I come out with my next movie review, which will be tomorrow, and that will be the movie The Snowman. So until then, guys, peace out and have a good Wednesday.